Well, the Bank of Canada is cutting its key lending rate amid economic uncertainty caused by U.S. tariffs. As expected, the rate now sits at 2.25%. That's down 25 basis points and brings the rate to the lowest level since July of 2022. The bank also signaling that this could mark an end to its cycle of cutting unless the outlook for inflation and the economy changes. With me now for more on this is Sean Cooper, mortgage broker and personal finance expert. Sean, thanks for being here.
Great to be here, Matt.
So, Sean, down to 2.25%. There was maybe a little bit of conversation at the fact the bank wasn't going to do this based on some of the latest inflation numbers, but clearly Tiff Macklem and crew following through. I guess in particular, and for you to give us your specialty, what does it mean for mortgages too in the housing market with this latest cut?
Yes, definitely with all the uncertainty right now, especially with the trade talks going sideways between Canada and the US, I think it kind of forced the Bank of Canada's hand. So certainly anyone with a variable rate mortgage or anyone with debt tied to prime rate, like a home equity line of credit or a personal line of credit, helps them immediately. So as an example, if you have a variable rate mortgage with a floating payment for each $100,000 that you have, it will mean a reduction of your payment by approximately $13 a month. So it definitely helps send some help your way from a budgeting standpoint.
And certainly does feel like every dollar counts, right? Because the cost of living is so high and just right across the country right now. I'm curious, Sean, what you think, because, sure, the rate is going down, which is good news for those variable or have a mortgage coming up for a renewal here in the next little bit. However, all of the uncertainty too with the trade war right now, with those ongoing discussions with the U.S., what impact, bigger picture, do you believe is this going to have on the housing market, or is it mostly going to stay flat with all that uncertainty?
Yes, definitely. It has been challenging in the housing market, especially with pre-construction condos. But I think definitely the psychological impact will be positive overall. If you're somebody that has a job that hasn't been affected by the trade war and you're pretty certain that you're going to be able to hold on to your employment, I definitely think the psychological impact is a positive one, and it should help spur more activity in the housing market. So yeah, I definitely think it's a positive move for existing homeowners with variable rate mortgages, as well as those looking to get into the housing market with a stable employment situation.
Yeah, and again, too, I think stable rate is the key part of that. I want to ask you, to your outlook here for the rest of what we're looking at, what you believe is happening here for the rest of the fall into the winter. Things slow down, I think, pretty regularly, but, we'll see what happens with the next rate decision later this year. Maybe not, and again, Tiff Macklem did say they're not expecting another cut at this point, but what do you believe is going to happen here, into 2026?
Yes, I mean, and we have another scheduled interest rate decision on December 10th. So it's anyone's guess what's going to happen with all the uncertainty between Canada and the US. Like, who really knows what's going to happen with that decision? But it very well could be possible that we could see another rate cut. I mean, I wouldn't expect a half-point rate cut. If we saw any sort of rate cut, it would be a quarter-point rate cut. Usually the Bank of Canada does several rate cuts in one cycle. So yeah, it's kind of hard to say just because things are moving at such a breakneck pace right now, but wouldn't surprise me to see another rate cut. But we really need to see how things play out with economic data, like with inflation, ongoing negotiations between Canada and the US. We just need more data, but wouldn't surprise me to see another rate cut before the end of the year.
Okay, Sean Cooper, mortgage broker and personal finance expert. Thanks for your time tonight, Sean. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Matt.